What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to go over the lens choices I use for the Canon EOS R. Let's get into it. I've had a lot of you guys ask what lens choices I use and why I use the lenses I do. So today I want to go over that. I want to dive deeper into each lens that I use and why I use them for weddings, commercial, and YouTube. As many of you guys may know, the EOS R is an RF mount, so you're not able to directly put your EF lenses onto the mount. So you'll have to get an adapter that's an RF to EF lens adapter mount for your guys' EF lenses that you guys probably have or saved up in the past. I have myself 3 EF lenses and 1 RF lens. I feel like it's important to have an RF lens just in case your adapter fails for your EF lenses and you don't want to be stuck with nothing. So I make sure I always have 1 RF lens available on handy. So today we're going to go over the 4 lenses I use for weddings, YouTube, commercial, and all that type of stuff. So the first lens I want to go over is the RF 24-105 lens by Canon. So I have this lens specifically because it's a great all-around lens. 24-105 can cover a huge range of shots for me, and I'm able to zoom in and out real quickly. I'm able to just put on the camera, and if it's something outside where I don't need a lot of low light performance, I put this on pretty much 90% of the time because this thing works wonders. It has great autofocus. It even has image stabilization on it. So you're able to kind of go handheld with it and not get a lot of shake. This is a great lens because it covers a full range of your wide angle, your medium angle, your tight angle, all that type of stuff. And you're able to just really stay on this pretty much all day. It's an all-purpose, all-around lens that you can just keep on your gimbal, keep on your camera throughout the day, as long as it's good, as long as there's good light, because obviously this is an f4 lens, so in low light it's not the best. So when it comes to low light performance, I would not recommend this lens because it's not that great. It's an f4, so you lose a lot of low light performance from the camera, and I wouldn't recommend it for, I never use this for receptions because it's too dark for me. I'm able to throw in my primes, which we'll go into in a little bit. It's the first lens I use in my bag, and I recommend this because it's a pretty cheap RF lenses, because as you know, RF lenses are super expensive, and this is just a great all-around lens for a very, very good price. So this is the 24-105 f4 by Canon. So my other 3 lenses are EF mount lenses, so I want to go over each of those. My second most used lens that I use in my bag is the Canon Macro 100mm lens. This is a f28, so it's pretty good in low light. You can get really, really close as it's a macro lens as well, so I can be about 2 inches from a subject and be able to get like those very, very crisp detail shots, like the eyes. I love using eyes, I love using rings, all that type of stuff. So this is great for that, and I also love this for portrait. So you're able to get really, really nice bokeh because you're at 100mm prime, 2.8. You really get that deliciousness that you get from the sunlight and during bridal portrait sessions and during the bride and groom portrait sessions. I mean, you're able to really just get that intimacy. This lens tells a story for me because it really gets those details that I'm looking for to create and edit. You get those intimate details, you get the hands touching, you get the closeness of the faces touching and the sunlight coming through, the necklace, the jewelry, all that type of stuff. So this lens is an amazing lens, and I always have my second shooter on this lens, or if I'm a second shooter, I'll rock this lens because I know I can perform and get great shots with this. It's just a beautiful, beautiful lens, and it's a pretty cheap lens. I believe it's $700 to $800 now, so you can get it used for even cheaper. So I recommend this, has great autofocus, and this one also has image stabilization. So the Canon 100mm macro is my second go-to lens. Let's move on to the third lens. So my third most used lens in my bag is the one that's actually on the camera right now. It is the Sigma 35mm 1.4 lens. I absolutely adore this lens when it comes to anything low light, which includes reception footage. I use this for dancing all the time because it's 35mm is a great focal length to just really get in there, get those detail shots, get some bokeh, all that type of stuff. It's a great all-around lens as well when you want to get like kind of like a wide shot, but also have some great bokeh. The 35mm is amazing, and like I said, it's great in low light at 1.4. I think this lens is going for about I think 600 bucks now, brand new, and you can get it used for way cheaper than that. So the 35mm Sigma 1.4 is my third lens of choice. Now let's move to the fourth lens. My fourth lens of choice is kind of one that I don't use often, but when I do, I really enjoy it. And it is the 85mm 1.4 Sigma lens. This thing is a beast. It's huge, it's heavy, but when you're using it, it's absolutely amazing. So just like the 35mm, the 85mm 1.4 is great in low light. It's a tight focal length, crispy bokeh. The autofocus is all right. It's pretty much as good as the 35mm Sigma. It's not as good as Canon, but overall, I don't use this lens a lot, but when I do, it's really good. I use this more for commercial production. I have it on my B cam as like a second angle, and I get very tight on the face, and I want to have that amazing bokeh in the background. I use it for that. I also use it for speeches at weddings. This is my go-to speech lens because of the low light. I put this on the monopod, and this is what I use for speeches. But other than that, I don't really use this on the wedding day. It's more for commercial production. So this is definitely my least go-to lens. It pretty much just sits in the bag and just waits for me to just use it. But when I do use it, it's really remarkable. So this is the Sigma 85 1.4mm lens from Sigma. So I hope this video helped you guys when it came to why I have these lenses and what lenses I have, because I've had a lot of questions and I wanted to make sure I answer this in a separate video so I can just really dive into each lens that I have. So these are my 4 lenses, my recommendations, but there's plenty of lenses out there, as you already know. There's so many lenses, it's kind of overwhelming, but these are the 4 that I've stuck to for the past couple of years. So I really haven't needed to get any more lenses or any new lenses. These are kind of my go-to, and it's been working for me just tremendously. So stay tuned for next week's video as we dive more into this series about the Canon EOS R, and we're gonna kind of go over into C-Log, and we're either gonna go over into C-Log or we're gonna go over into low light performance. So let me know in the comments below what one you want to see more of, whether it be C-Log or low light performance of the camera. It's gonna be one of those next week for week 3 of this Canon EOS R series on my YouTube channel. But until then, we'll see you guys next time. Subscribe if you haven't, like this video if you haven't, and have a great day.